Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's the cup preview for Arsenal against West Ham United in the quarter-final of the League Cup. Starting as always, Tom, what's your thoughts on Arsenal?
In Merson terms, they're a bag of rebels. You do not really know what sort of side Arsenal will turn up. You know, one week they'll beat you 4-0, the next week, you could end up drawing 0-0 like we did with them this week. So they blow hot and cold all the time under Wenger, and obviously with a changed squad on Wednesday, it could be a sort of an interesting to see what sort of side Arsenal start the game out with.
Tom, are you being impressed by them this season, or disappointed, or is this how you actually expected them to do?
Disappointed. I thought I'd like to see a lot more of the trio of Lacazette, Sanchez, and Ozil firing on all cylinders. I thought that's up there with a deadly three. Like the sort of Sane, KDB, Aguero, or even the Liverpool trio, Firmino, Mane, Salah. That's the level that you expect of these guys, and they've disappointed once again. I know Lacazette, I think, an interesting start. He's not completed a full 90 minutes for Arsenal yet this season, and Sanchez looks just disinterested. His head's gone. I thought Ozil played well of what I saw of him the other day from the highlights, but just again another disappointing season. And I'm sure that the Arsenal fans feel exactly the same about that.
Well, Gonzo, I'm not going to ask you your thoughts on Arsenal because we did the preview for the league game a week ago. But the cup competition, Gonzo, should Arsenal be taking this seriously? Are they good enough to sort of dismiss this cup competition altogether, considering it's a quarter final?
Are they good enough? I don't know. It's hard to know if Arsenal are good enough because I don't know what players are going to leave in January. You also get into the realms of them having to rotate. We're all going to have to rotate at the moment. I also think the fact that they're not in the Champions League this season has given them slightly different priorities. I think in many respects, Jose made the blueprint last season by winning that Europa Cup. So I just wonder if they really, more than ever, need to concentrate on the Premier League this season because they didn't finish in the top four last season. And then as a secondary competition, I think they're going to have to really look at the Europa League because whilst they would traditionally fail in the Champions League, there is a chance that they may well win the Europa League if they concentrate fully on it. And if they're concentrating on those two things, I don't think they're going to fully concentrate on the two cups, which they've not done badly in recent years.
Do you agree with that, Tom, or do you think they should be sort of taking this one quite serious just to try and maybe is their most realistic chance for a trophy, if you like?
Yeah, I think the league's gone. League's gone for everybody involved. I think City are far and away the best side. Well, probably one of the best teams in the Premier League history. There's no stopping them this season. So once again, it's down to the cups for Arsenal, and I think it depends whether it's FA Cup, Europa League. Obviously, they've got a great chance of winning in, or the FA Cup again. It's always going to be their best chance of silverware because the teams that are so far ahead of them, it's not even close as to how the difference of a team like Man City or Man United to what is of Arsenal these days. So I think this is the best competition, and it probably will strengthen quite a strong side, I think, coming on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Tom, but the thing what makes me agree with Gonzo in that they rotate quite a lot is their next game after Tuesday is on Friday night, and that's at home to Liverpool, so that's a big game. They don't have a lot of time. We play on the Saturday, it's slightly longer, etc. But Gonzo, Arsenal, they've been rotating their team. They're probably going to rotate their team quite drastically for this one. Is there anyone you would look out for in that rotated side, or is there anyone you fear? What about Walcott?
Maybe. So on a previous point, I wasn't suggesting Arsenal could win the league. That's why they're in the league. I just mean they finish fifth. They need to finish top four. Did they fifth? Wherever they finished, they need to finish top four. Is there anyone I fear? Yeah, but I doubt they're going to play. I think they've got. Did they have someone playing at left back recently? He's a player I'd not heard of. Young lad. I think they look very, very good. I was quite impressed by him, but they should always have young players.
Maitland Miles.
Is that who it is? Yeah. Yeah, he looked really good. Whether he causes us trouble is another matter. But it was nice to see somebody coming through, I guess, from their point of view. You fear the big guys, I think, with them. I guess the big one would be who's not been featuring and starting for them would be Olivier Giroud. Does he want to give Olivier Giroud some game time? If he does, and play him from the start, then maybe he could cause us problems. But I can't imagine they will be playing Ozil and Sanchez and players like that. So our chance depends on how strong our team is, I'd imagine.
What do you think, Tom? Rotated Arsenal side, is anyone you're sort of keeping an eye out for? You've probably got Coquelin and Elneny in the middle of the pitch, likely.
Excuse me. Yeah, the thing is that they do have a bevy of good young talent. Like Gonzo said, there's sort of Maitland Miles. I know there's another guy, I think Ren Adelaide or something in the middle. They do have young and up and coming talent. Iwobi, that they can rotate in and do seem to slip in quite well. I think obviously the major sort of threat, I guess, on a rotated team we'd expect would be Cazorla, but he's injured. So they do have their injuries at the minute, but they're young. Their young core, and the way I've seen a few of those in the last couple of seasons attack at pace, and the way that they can sort of seamlessly slip in with Holding or others, I think we do have to take them seriously, because they are going to be or could potentially be a very dangerous side.
I think what gives Arsenal motivation for this one is a bit like when we played at Spurs in the Cup. That is a rotated side, have shirts they can grab from the first team for the game against Liverpool. Probably, I mean, they drew with us, 1-1-0 against Newcastle, and while it took a wonder goal from Ozil, they didn't create that many chances for what Arsenal should be doing. But let's talk about West Ham then. Gonzo, usually we rotate the goalkeeper for the cup competition. Would you be doing that? Would you be putting Joe Hart in for this one?
Yeah, I think so. I just think it would only be fair, really. I think it's not Joe Hart's fault that he's not as good as Adrian. And I think certainly there would have been some promises made to him when he came. And whilst we can't keep them in the league, Adrian's got to keep the league on. I wouldn't be adverse to him going in for this one at all. That would be absolutely fine. I mean, personally, I think he might want to be finding a new club in January or something like that. And if this helps get him in the window, he joined us to keep his England place going. And I'm not nasty. If he, I don't want to stitch him up. I think it'd be a good chance to bring him back in, give him some confidence.
Tom, is there any players? How serious would you take this, Tom? Would you be playing the exact same 11 that's just played at Stoke, or would you be making a few changes?
No, I think the guys that played last week absolutely ran their socks off for the team, and I think that they are deserving of a rest going into this week. I thought we said on the review the other day that we would want to see Hernandez come in and Sacco start. And to be honest with you, on the one hand, I would like to take it seriously. It is a cup competition. You do want a chance at a trophy, and maybe this might be our best chance at it. I do have one eye on the league, and I think that's what worries me, is just our current league position, and can we afford to be putting a full strength squad out? When Newcastle at home is such a key game to pick up 3 points, especially seeing as how poor the opposition are. So I would definitely make a few rotations going in, maybe see some of the youth players get a chance on Tuesday night.
Tom, who would you like to see then? Who would you be better in? You mentioned Hernandez and maybe Sacco there. Is there anyone else you'd be bringing in? Because for me, this is where we find out just how skinny our squad actually is. There's not that many senior players you can draft in. Yeah,
I think we've obviously with Noble's injury, we're light at centre midfield this week, so probably Obiang's going to have to play. I'd like to see Rice start. I thought, he was absolutely fantastic the other day. But then again, centre backs, who do we? Bonner and Collins, we're light back there at the minute, so those guys are going to probably have to start. So, I mean, the obvious choice would probably be someone like a Keane or a Martinez, or to see some of the sort of the flair youth players start and bring Joe Hart in. Maybe give Zabaleta a rest. Obviously, I know we probably can't do that because obviously Byram's injured as well. So, like you said, it's a skinny squad at the minute, and a few of those guys are going to have to start. It would probably just be more of the attacking flair players that we'd like to see. Especially with the likes of, I've heard Liverpool and Arsenal, especially poaching around Keane. You want to actually see that talent on show, as we've not, had a chance to get to see that.
Do you agree with that, Gonzo? Would you be rotating the team as much as you can, although there's not that much rotation you can do by the looks of it, unless you really go into your youth team?
Yeah, I think because of the time of year, because the games come thick and fast. If it was, a couple of months ago, or I'm not a great one for rotating for the cups, but bearing in mind the position we've been in and bearing in mind the situation we're in, at some point you have to rotate. So this seems like the sensible one to rotate. I actually did my team earlier. I'm going to try and hold out Lister first. I don't know if the people can see it on the screen. Can you see it?
Yeah,
watching that. I'll keep talking a little bit, because then you can just see it on the screen. But I've got young Johnson in at right back, as you can see, because I do think Zabaleta needs a rest. The rest you can see for yourself there. So yeah, I've got Hernandez and Carroll up front, Kiate Fernandez in midfield, Ayew on the right, but Samuelson on the left as well, because I saw the under-23s recently, and Haksabanovic and Quina they looked a little bit slight, a little bit small. He looked like a grown man in many respects, Samuelson. So Cresswell at left back. I just don't think we've got many choices at left back. So either Cresswell or Masuaku has to play, and I think you've got to switch to a 4-4-2, or at least I have anyway in that, because we got sort of three strikers there chomping at a bit in Sacco, Carroll and Hernandez. So I think if you just play one striker, you've got another position that you've got to find in midfield or something. So I just think that to me, that made sense.
Yeah, the only problem potentially with Gonzo's team is Carroll missed the game at the weekend. He's supposed to be injured again. Fernandez, we're not sure if he's back or not. But Chikiati, it has been back in training, so he might feature on Tuesday night. That's the problem. The thing is, I would try to stick to this 5-3-2 as much as possible, because that's probably what we're going to do against Newcastle, because it works so well. So I'd be keeping the same formation, because I think it's only fair if you change it to 4-4-2 and then someone goes in and struggles, they might think, well, hang on, you've been playing 3-5-2, or they do really well in a 4-4-2, and chuck them in a 5-3-2 and say, go do it again. You go, well, hang on, the formation is completely different. I'd be keeping the formation the same. Ayew would be the first one I'd draft in. Hernandez as well, probably Sacco, Chiaki if he's able to start. But this is where it gets dodgy. You've got to decide how seriously you take this. Do you risk your Zabaleta and hope that he comes through okay? We might be missing Lanzini for this one. It depends how fast they go through this dive and decide if he's getting punished or not. But Gonzo, Tom said there he's got one eye in the league, etc. Me and you, one thing we always agree on is how serious you take the cups, and it's our sort of end all and be all, if you like. Is that still the case now that we've had a little bit of a relegation shock, but we're out of it now? So have you sort of dismissed the league and it's all about the cup again?
I always want to win. I just don't think. I think we've got some knackered looking players. And much as I would like to think, look, let's draft Antonio in or whatever, he looks knackered. Lanzini, I know you've recently liked to check on the mileage of the players that are done, and you've recently highlighted that Mark Noble has been doing a lot of running around, haven't you? I think in our last game, the guy that had the second most running around was actually Lanzini. So he's done a lot as well, and there's going to be a lot of other players that actually do need a rest. So whilst I'd like to go for it, I do wonder actually if we put them in, would we get a brilliant performance anyway? They might just be too knackered. If they're not knackered now, then they're certainly going to be on the 23rd or on Boxing Day or wherever. At some point, they're going to get knackered if they're not given a rest. And I do think Arsenal are not going to take this too seriously. So the thing that I want to know is how seriously is Moyes going to take it? That's the real interest, because traditionally at Everton, he didn't have a great pedigree for taking the cup seriously. So I actually think there's a way of changing the team, putting some younger blood in there, giving 3 or 4 players a rest. You don't have to give everyone a rest. You can rest 3 or 4 players, the ones you think are most knackered, but actually still going for it. And the tone and the message that the manager gives out in that dressing room beforehand, I don't want him to give over a vibe. Oh, look, it doesn't, almost like it doesn't matter. I want it to be just as ferocious and just as intense as his team talk is for the league game. So in that sense, I want us to take it seriously.
Dude, this is a mad thing. You two are going to disagree with me here. If we have to rest players, I think I would actually rather rest them for the Newcastle game. I would actually generally rather see our first team against Arsenal and go for that. And if we have to rest 2 or 3 against Newcastle, that's what I'd rather do. But this comes down to my next question. Tom, what would you rather win? The cup game against Arsenal or the game against Newcastle in the league on Saturday?
I've got to be the fuddy-duddy here. I'd rather win the game on Saturday or Sunday against Arsenal. I'm just worried about fitness, and I'm just worried about the position that we're in and the fact that we just need the points. And these are the big games coming up, and that's what I'm worried for. And the thing is, I would love for us to go for a cup, especially maybe even the FA Cup in the new year, maybe when we've got a few more points under our belt. But that is just a big worry for me that that these games these are our bread and butter games, and we've definitely got to have one eye on the league. So of course, it's such a double-edged sword, because you always want to have a go in the cup, and to beat Arsenal would be something special, especially after what we did against Spurs at Wembley. But I think realistically, we have to watch fitness levels and have one eye on Newcastle at the weekend.
Gonzo, same question for yourself. I thought I knew what answer you'd give, Gonzo. We've given him mixed vibes recently, so and during the show. So what would you rather win? Which one?
If we draw, do we get a replay? Because we can draw against Arsenal and then beat. Do we get a replay?
No, it's play to finish.
All right. Well, maybe I'll draw. Maybe I'll draw against Newcastle. if you're given a choice, I'll draw against Newcastle and beat Arsenal, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I would take the win against Arsenal. I don't like this. I'm almost going to call it a modern age thing, but I guess I sort of fit into the modern age thing. I'm a bit younger than Gonzo. But I don't like this. I don't like this fear of relegation. I don't like it. I don't know why people get too... we're not quite happy through the season yet, or is that us happy through? I don't know. I think we're maybe happy through the season now. We're still going to have to play for. This is one game we're talking about, the Newcastle one. And with respect, they're not the hardest opponents in the world. I think we should be going all out for this cup game. We win, and we're in the semi-final. Before Newcastle, that atmosphere will be bouncing because everybody in there will know we're in a semi-final. They know we're playing well, etc. And then the 12th man becomes valid and stuff. I just don't like this whole safety first. We need to look at the league first. I think bugger that. Go for the cups. And I'd much rather see us win silverware than finish 17th or whatever every season. But Tom, how confident are you for this one?
I was going to say, just to back on that point, it was just my issue was just if we do play that 11 and we do play a strong 11, I'm just worried about injuries because of how depleted we could be at the minute. That's my only issue is going for it and picking up more injuries for the next few weeks because of how clustered the fixture list is. Apart from that, yeah, I am confident because if we do play a strong 11, we took it to Arsenal last week, and if they play a weaker side on Wednesday, I think we could give them a run for their money. Why not? They don't look great at the minute. They might be resting their players for Friday. I think this is probably the perfect time to play them. So why not? I think I'm pretty confident. Yeah, if we decide to turn up on Tuesday.
Gonzo?
I think I am confident, but I've just got no evidence of Moyes yet. I don't have enough. I now know after the amount of games he's played what Moyes does in the league. I haven't seen the cup Moyes yet, so I think if I knew he was going to drill that defence as well and in such a disciplined way that he has over the last few games, then I would be confident. But I've yet to see. I think if he drills that defence well, and we get Hernandez up front, he gets some service to him, I would be very, very confident of us beating Arsenal because I just don't think they'll take it as seriously.
Yeah, I don't think they'll take it seriously either. The rotated squad's not a bad squad. That's the thing. They are bringing in the extra Chambers and Holding in centre-back. Not a bad centre-back pair in all reality. They've got Theo Walcott to bring in, who tends to score against us. Giroud up front. It's not a bad attack either. They've got some good players, but the problem is they're not playing very well just now. The fans aren't really happy. I'm confident for this one. We've got nothing to lose. The pressure's on them. I think we're like 9-2 to win. The bookies still aren't taking us seriously at all. They've written us off for this game once more. But Tom, what's your score prediction then for this one? If you predict a draw, tell us how it's going to finish because it goes to extra time and pens.
No. Whenever I bring the close horse, whenever the close horse is out, we always lose. So it's a bad omen.
No.
I shouldn't have put it out, should I?
Have you not got some lucky pants you can put on there or something? That will counteract the effects of the close horse.
Do you know what? For the viewers at home, I've got the lucky pants on at the minute. So the lucky pajamas when I'm ill. Yeah, do you know what? Like I said, I'm confident. I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. If we get them early, and especially if we can sort of neutralise whatever they can offer, going forward, especially if Moyes drills that defence, then yeah, I agree. We've got to be confident going into Tuesday, and why not? Let's potentially obviously have a semi-final berth if we do.
Did you give a score prediction? Sorry.
Yeah, 2-1.
2-1. I'll give mine because I think Gonzo's putting his lucky pants on or something.
I've got you're not my lucky pants. Last time Tom was on the boat, he went to the toilet and he left his pants in there. So I've washed them.
I'm quite worried you had them to hand.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you can't keep your lucky pants in a downstairs toilet, where can you keep your lucky pants, eh?
Oh dear. Right, what's your score prediction, Gonzo?
I think we win. I think we win 2-1.
2-1 as well. For this one, this is a big game for me. David Moyes has got a contract to earn here, and if he doesn't take this one seriously and he does the same again in the FA Cup, for me, that almost loses the job for me. If you're not going to take the cup seriously, I almost don't want a manager here. That's the big thing for me. Taking the cup seriously is the biggest thing for a manager at West Ham for me. But I'm confident as well. I'm actually going to say 2-0 for this one. I think we'll do what we did at London Stadium, shut up shop and hit them on the tap. I think it'll work once more, and I do think he'll keep it quite a strong 11 as well. But anyway, let us know what you think at home. How seriously do you take this cup? Or do you think we should be just ignoring it and focusing on Newcastle and climbing the table? Because we are just a few points now off top half of the table, unbelievably. We could be the top half of the table going into the new year. Also, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed this Sky review. We'll be back on Tuesday night with our review of the Cup game. We've got a video going up tomorrow, which is completely different. We've never done it before. It's Christmas related, so make sure you check out. There's also another Christmas related video on our second channel just now, which took a lot of work. So the link in the description. Go have a watch of it. It'll be on the screen right now as well as the subscribe button. So hit the subscribe button, go watch the video, we can have a chat, and we'll catch you in a bit.